Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be taking a look at a library update and all of the new games that either came into the library in March or that were ordered in March. So these are all new games that we're super excited for, whether it be playing them in person and excited to share them with others, or they're games that are on their way in that we ordered in March. So excited to share these picks with you, and let's get started. So the first things that we're going to cover are a couple of upgrades, and these are from the BGG store. So these are the GeekUp Bits sets. So these are nice plastic, screen-printed resources and counters, tiles, all sorts of things that really give a nice tactile feeling to the different games. So these are for already existing games in the library that we don't have GeekUp Bits for, but we do have a lot of GeekUp Bits for a lot of the games we have here. So the ones in particular that we chose for this month were the Codenames Duet bits, the Fireball Island bits, the Keyflower bits, and the Le Havre bits. So I think whenever you have that tactile sensation of picking up these cardboard pieces, I think this plastic elevates it. I really do. And especially with games like Le Havre and Keyflower, when everything else is super smooth and super nice and the gameplay is really satisfying, I think if you can upgrade those kind of minimal components and really bring them to the next level, I think it elevates the game as a whole. It's going to get people coming back. They're going to like that deluxe feeling, and I think that's something that the library really needs. And so very excited to share those with others and to teach others with these included. So excited to have all these in our games in our library. The next game that we have is Warchest Siege. So Warchest Siege is an expansion for Warchest, one of my favorite abstract games, probably my favorite, and it introduces a lot of new factions. So we've got 4 new faction chips as well as some new kind of scenarios that include these fortress chips. So really interesting how this is going to kind of add some new elements to the game. Excited to try this one. So I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I think it's a great addition to an already wonderful game. So I just did an organizing video of this game with this new expansion all in the base box. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. The next thing that we're going to look at are these Nanty Narkeen Victorian metal coins. So this is the perfect upgrade for the game Obsession. So these are in the correct denominations. They've got the silver and the gold coins. It's kind of a perfect fit. And they're not gigantic either. They fit really nicely in your hands, and they've got a great cling to them. They're easy to pick up. Wonderful coins, so I thought this upgrade would be really good for the Obsession board game. So that's now in the library. Fantastic. The next game we're going to look at is a roll and write game. This is Fleet the Dice game. Heard a lot of great things about this. Haven't received it yet. It's on its way in, but it looks wonderful. I mean, I love this theme of being these fishermen and going off. It looks awesome. So very excited to try this one. It looks like a wonderful roll and write. Has a lot of potential combos. It looks great. Next, we're going to look at Solomon Kane, a storytelling game where you play as either the characters that are kind of influencing Solomon Kane himself, or you play as the enemies of Solomon Kane. So I like that this game has a lot of different modes to play as. You can either play cooperative, you can play solo, you can play as this one versus all style game, and I think that will add a lot to the game and getting it played. I think the system looks really interesting. I love the storytelling. I like the dice allocation. It looks like a blast. The reviews that have come in so far have all been extremely positive, so excited to finally get this one in. They've done a lot of work on this, and they've spent a lot of time on it, so I'm really excited for this final production. So that will be here hopefully soon, and I can't wait to get started. The next game is an expansion that just went on sale yesterday, and this is Bullet Orange. So it's a new set of 4 characters for Bullet Heart, and this is all going to be 4 double-sided characters, so they've got the bosses and the main characters. So Bullet's a wonderful puzzle game that I really enjoy, and I think that more characters is wonderful. And the fact that they are already able to ship this within a month is super exciting. The fact that they're going to be continuously creating content for this game, I think is wonderful. It takes this interesting idea of a battle-style game, but mixes it with puzzles, and I think that just opens up a lot of opportunity for a lot of fun design space. So very excited for these new characters. I did a live stream earlier where they showed off how they all worked, and I think they look great, and I'm excited to see what the bosses are going to be like as well. So lots of surprises in store and lots of fun to have. So wonderful Bullet Orange. The next two games are from Fantasy Flight Games. This first one is going to be Return to the Circle Undone. This is going to add to the replayability of this Circle Undone campaign, and in addition, it adds two really cool things. The first thing it's going to add are new player cards, which is awesome, and new player cards always good for building decks, and they are offering brand new player cards, so not just upgrades of old ones, but some really cool ideas that are going to add to the ability to use the tarot cards, which I think is neat. And speaking of tarot cards, it's actually going to add a deck of these double-sided tarot cards, and these cards look really fascinating. So the cards themselves are going to have some really cool impact on the game, whether positive or negative, and I'm really excited for this. So this just seems like a great idea, especially for this expansion that leans so heavily into the tarot card theme. So it looks wonderful, the art is great, and these return to expansions are wonderful for replayability, organization, everything really. Anything that breathes new life into this game is wonderful, and this game is really the game that just keeps on giving. Speaking of a game that keeps on giving, we've got Drax for the Marvel Champions card game. So this is the final Guardian of the Galaxy that's kind of rounding out the bunch, and we knew he was coming. Super exciting. Drax reminds me a lot of how I wanted the Hulk to play. So I understand why the Hulk was very focused on aggression only, but Drax is able to kind of use this protection aspect and gain damage over time, so his rage increases. So I think this is a really cool idea, and I really like the direction they took this. They also are focusing on the protection aspect, which I think is really fascinating, and they're really kind of using it in new and different ways. I like the idea that he has this continuous rage that he's building up, and he's able to draw more cards in hero mode and then flip back and do a big healing turn. Really exciting. I think this is a really great design, and it's going to really open up a lot of space for the protection aspect as a whole, and just be a lot of fun to kind of combo and build up your strength. So excited for Drax, and excited to play these Guardians of the Galaxy. We're supposed to be getting the Galaxy's Most Wanted here in a little bit, so very exciting. Up next are the Marauders from Root. So Root, the Marauder expansion, introduces two new factions. We've got the Badgers looking for the lost artifact, and then we have the Lord of the Hundreds, the Rats. So really exciting, but something I'm really excited for are actually these little guys. I forget what they're called, the Hirelings. So these Hirelings are going to be basically mini tiny units that you can interact with that are going to supplement your game. So they're kind of like NPCs, non-playable characters. And so seems like a great idea, having these tiny mini factions that you can interact with on the board. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. It's supposed to help out with small player count games, which just means that Root is going to get played even more, which is super exciting. Very excited for this expansion, and the two new factions just look like a lot of fun. How cool is that? A new faction that deals with the ruins, and then the Lord of the Hundreds sounds amazing. I like the idea that they're bringing in this die, and they'll have a little bit of chaos introduced with them. Really excited. The expansion as a whole just looks like a lot of fun and a great addition to Root. Up next, we have the Everdell Complete Collection. So in Everdell, you play as this town mayor, essentially. You're going to be putting out all these cards. And Everdell does something really clever with this new expansion, where instead of adding these new cards that kind of just work with each other, they're opening up a broad section of cards where your new cards interact with a lot of your old cards, which I think is a great idea and a great, design space in general. It also is going to offer up the complete collection box, so we can store everything that we already have for Everdell in one nice, concise box. And one thing that I think is really nice is they're going to be including the little resource containers, and I think that's just a great little addition to an already wonderful game. So I like this game a lot, and I'm excited to get this whole thing. I think it looks great. I like that they are introducing insects, and I think that's just a great space to jump into. The storage box itself just looks wonderful for keeping everything nice and clean. Get gameplay started very quickly. I'm a big fan of that. And the other cool thing they're adding here are the component bins. So they're taking the idea, you can see this a lot on Etsy, they have the walnuts and whatnot. They're taking that idea and they're going to be giving you these resource accessories. So lots of different vessels for the resources, and I like that they're all thematically appropriate. You have the little leaves that go on the tree for the different events. You've got the little stump for the resin. You've got the boat for the twigs, the twig barge, right? So if you've played the game, you can see some of the characters dealing with that. I think it's just really neat, and I'm excited. I think it'll definitely add to the presence of the game. So very excited. Yeah, that's Everdell. Up next is Super Fantasy Brawl. So this includes Round 1 and Round 2. Mythic Games had a couple of copies of the large Super Fantasy Brawl game, so I was able to get a copy of that into the library. And now that we have that, we can eagerly anticipate Round 2 coming in. So Round 2 has a lot of exciting stuff, lots of new characters, lots of new ways to play, new matches. I love the different characters that they're going to be bringing into the game. Specifically, they have some genies and a lot of really cool ideas with like gunslingers and a lot of cool looking ranged characters. So I'm really excited for that. I think it cracks me up that some of the expansions are like based on hats or visions. I think that's just really cool. They're kind of bringing in all of these ideas together. So yeah, it's called Hot Trick Expansion. I just think it's really funny that they're grouped together because they're wearing hats. I think that's really funny. And the idea of having like these really powerful sorcerers and genies in one space is really exciting. So this will be great. I like the idea of the foil, and they said that they're going to introduce some sort of storage solution, incorporating that large box in the Pledge Manager, so I'm eagerly waiting to see what that's going to be. They just released a great storage solution for Frostpunk, so I'm hopefully they'll do something like that, where they add an option where you can, increase your solution choices, your storage solution choices. Up next, we have the expansion for Catacombs and Castle 2nd Edition. So specifically, though, we backed for the Black Box expansion. So this is just for the base game of Catacombs. It adds a solo mode, and it also adds a cooperative mode to Catacombs, which I think is really cool. It just, once again, opens up more ways to play the game. I think Catacombs is a fantastic game. It's a big hit for the SideGame Library. This is a great one that we bring to conventions a lot, and I think that it definitely deserves the space in the library here. So any expansion for this game is a blast. These games are wonderful. I love the dexterity dungeon crawl idea, and more variety is always welcome. So really excited for Catacombs Black Box. The new heroes and the new monsters look like a lot of fun. Our next game we're going to look at is actually one of the reasons that when we got Fleet is because of the awesome gameplay of Three Sisters. So Three Sisters looks wonderful. It's a roll and write game, very quick playing, that is by the same designers as Fleet the Dice game. And that's really the big selling point here on actually getting the pair of them. This looks like a wonderful farming simulation. It seems to have a lot of those combos that really drive games like Fleet the Dice game and Ganshan Clever forward, and it's one that I'm eager to try. And I think it's great to support these designers like this, and the sooner we can get into our collection, the sooner we get it played, and I think that it is exciting to I think this looks very exciting. So it's pretty cheap, and I think it'll be fun to play. So really looking forward to that one. Up next, we've got John Company 2nd Edition. I'm a big fan of Cole Worley's designs, and he did a great job with PAX Pamir 2nd Edition, so I'm hoping that the John Company game gets the same treatment. So I have not forayed into this game at all, but seeing as we do get a huge crowd of different kind of gamers, I think that this is one that we should definitely have in the library. The artwork on it looks stunning, the design looks great, and I think that this is just whole production in general looks wonderful. It gives me a lot of those PAX Pamir 2nd Edition vibes with the art style, and really that's all you really need to get a lot of people in the door to try a game, and this offers a lot of really cool negotiation with you all kind of buying into this large company, so I'm excited to see how that works out. I'm excited for this one, so this is John Company's 2nd Edition. Last game we're going to look at today is called Clash of Deck. So this is a really interesting campaign. Specifically, it's free. You can back this game for $0, and you're really just paying for the shipping, $2. So this is a really awesome marketing idea. You pay for the shipping of this free-to-play game, you try it out. If it's something for you, you can buy expansions in the future, which is such a cool idea. I think that's wonderful. It's going to get people in the door to try this game. It's going to get people to know about this game. And if it is a good game, if it's quality, you'll support these expansions. I know we will for sure if this is a solid game. It's got solo, it's got duel, and I think that's great. I think it's going to be a game that a lot of people can pick up and play, and it looks really interesting. I think that this is one that you should definitely give a try if you haven't heard of this. Once again, it's €2 to have it shipped. Wonderful. I think it's a great idea, and I am really excited to see what the gameplay's like and see what the design space is like for future expansions. And that's everything. That's all of the games that we have added to the library, or we are pre-ordering and are excited to get into our library. We're excited to get these games played. it should be a blast. So if you have any questions about what you saw here, please let me know down in the comments. If you think that there should be anything that we should be looking at for the radar, that we should have looked at, I should say, for March, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing here. It really helps us grow. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. SideGame strong, y'all.